In this second demo, I want to bring to the table a little bit more focused effort on Ash analytics, and also we're going to look at the advisory framework. We're back in EM12C, Cloud Control, and like I said in the first demo, when you're doing especially reactive performance tuning, but even proactive, it's a go-to spot. You might even want to bookmark the page under Performance, Performance Home. This is your main dashboard. It shows you the default baseline called System Moving Window that gives you a peek of what's happening right now on the system. And let's scroll down a little bit. We get to our Ash data here with average active sessions. And notice that you can filter foreground only, foreground and background. Now, I mentioned before in the previous demo that you've got this color-coded heat map, I guess you'd call it, where you can easily see different categories and the amount of impact they're having on the system, relatively speaking, right? Relatively speaking. I also want you to understand what's happening here with these little icons, the key. If you hover over these little clipboards, it says View ADDM Run. These are our snapshots, our AWR/ADDM snapshots, and again, that interval is configurable, and we see that this is the nearest snapshot to where this second peak occurred. And you'll notice also we have these guys. And if you hover over these, the little icon with an asterisk on it, these are real-time ADDM runs that were triggered. It looks like obviously this big spike that happened here triggered an ADDM run, and if you click that, it'll actually kick open that report for you directly. Now what do we have here? It might take a little while to load the page, and here it gives us a report of what kicked off the real-time ADDM report, what the status of your memory pools are, your CPU utilization, your sessions and their breakdown, and I/O. If we go to monitored SQL, we can see 2 user sessions, fairly long running, 30 seconds for Carol, 47 seconds for Otto. Tells us that they're PLSQL statements. Well, we understand that, right? So on my small demo system that's not sized particularly well intentionally because I want to try to trip off some of these advisory recommendations, I'm getting a little bit closer to explaining why that peak happened. Let's come back to Performance, Performance Home. Again, we'll come down to average active sessions. If you want to click on one of these ADDM runs, gives us again some more detail. You can zoom in very granularly to see what's happening. It looked like ADDM didn't find any problems there, interestingly. Let me go back, try an earlier snapshot. I'm trying to find some recommendations. There we go. Looks like when I first created the contention between the 2 users, under performance analysis for ADDM, we see that SQL statements are causing a severe impact. Let's drill into the finding. I'm going to show you what one of these looks like. And it tells us that SQL statements consuming significant DB time were found. Okay, well, no surprise there. Recommendations are to tune the SQL again, and we can kick off that advisor directly by clicking this button, you see. There's a couple ways to get there. And then it gives us some rationale, some specific reasons why Oracle thinks this SQL probably should be optimized. Pretty cool, isn't it? Let's come back to Performance Home. I keep coming back to this page because there's so much to show you. Just under this one section, average active sessions, you can do a ADDM or Ash Analytics run interactively by clicking those buttons. What I've been trying to get us to is this top activity link over here at the right. It's kind of off screen on my resolution. It's not helping very much. But if I click top activity, this shows us our Ash Analytics data for both of those periods. And here's where you can move this little slider to drill in on specific portions of that traffic. Let me bring it over here just when we started, that peak. Scroll down, and we can see both from a SQL statement point of view where our biggest activity is and our impact potentially, and also session-wise, user by user. And you can see the ID for those users, the program that they were using to access the database, a breakdown of specifically the activity that they were doing. If you hit the SQL ID, you're going to drill into that unique identifier for that SQL statement that caused such a spike in performance. No big surprise, it was that insert. Tells us the SID, the user. It can show the execution plan, which we'll talk about in a subsequent lesson. I don't mean to blow you away with all this detail, I just want you to get into the general feel for getting around. Again, to sum up, Performance Home is really the best place to start, and Active Average Sessions is going to show you what's happening right now. You can use these ADDM links to look at past snapshot states. If you want to drill right into the Ash Analytics, this guy is called Top Sessions. Hit that. And this will allow you to move your slider around, like I said earlier, and start to drill in on specific granular areas. You can run an Ash report if you need to pull off an HTML file for your boss, and then you can drill in on specific user sessions and SQL, PLSQL statements, and just get a feel for what's happening under the hood. In sum, Ash Analytics isn't really big on giving you recommendations. The ADDM is where you're going to see the findings and the recommendations. Ash Analytics gives you the right now data, but it leaves it up to you to determine what your next diagnostic and resolution step is.